You and all your pretty little friends, up in the hills where the party never ends. Your schemes and your dreams when you're whole and you're broken. I'm telling all about it in my words unspoken.
Welcome to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast, paying tribute to the reality show that aired on MTV from 2006 to 2010.
We are two Southern sisters rewatching The Hills in 2016 and chatting about it weekly for your entertainment.
My name is Susan, and I'm a 30-something photographer who hates most reality shows but loves The Hills. I have been rewatching the show for a few months.
My name is Jem. I'm a professional in my 30s who hasn't seen the show since it originally aired, so I'm really looking forward to reliving the magic again 10 years later.
We watched the first few seasons of the show in real time when we were younger versions of ourselves, and we are so excited to revisit every episode from our new points of view. Today we are talking about Season 1, Episode 9, Love is Not a Maybe Thing.
Susan, before you jump into our normal scene-by-scene recap, can we highlight the montage of Jordan and Heidi fighting? How stressful was that?
It was very sobering and
it was
depressing.
Super sobering. And really set the tone for the remainder of the episode. I don't think I even noticed, outside of the fight that they had by the dumpster, because we made such a big deal about it, I don't think I noticed how much they actually argued. So that was a real bummer.
It really was, but it definitely set the scene for the whole episode. So we start out with Audrina and Heidi are at lunch and they're discussing the Jordan situation.
Dining al fresco, talking about how the honeymoon stage is over.
After 7 months.
7 or 8. She wasn't quite sure.
Yet she celebrated very specifically her 6-month anniversary, so I'm surprised she didn't remember specifically what it was.
That part was really strange to me. Like, Heidi, don't you remember exactly what date you got the lilies? Hello?
Heidi's very independent, but she hasn't been lately since she's been with Jordan because he's been talking mean to her, and she hasn't been standing up for herself and telling him how much it bothers her. And Audrina gives some great words of wisdom. Whatever happens is supposed to happen.
Oh, Audrina, you sage, you.
I mean, it is true. I'm sure I've given that advice before, but it just sounded funny the way she said it.
Sometimes that's all you can say to your friend. Oh, fashion alert, Susan. Audrina in the scene is carrying a white leather boho bag with copper studs. Definitely didn't have a purse like that.
Yeah, you did. Don't lie.
So let's talk about the general tone of this conversation that Audrina and Heidi are having. Audrina says something about having never been in a long-term relationship, and Heidi's talking about Jordan. And all of a sudden, they start doing the thing where neither of them is paying a bit of attention to each other. Heidi's talking about her stuff. Audrina's talking about her stuff. They're ignoring each other and interrupting each other. And
you know what I really liked about this episode, Jen? Just kidding.
I see what you did there. But it was just, I mean, I'm sure there was some editing involved. I know we don't like to get into that kind of behind-the-scenes stuff, but could they really have been that talking over each other one-on-one?
Yes, they're both involved in their stuff. I don't think Audrina really cares about Heidi's drama with Jordan because she's just like, oh, I have never had a serious boyfriend, so let me tell you about my experiences. And since she doesn't have anything to compare, like Heidi's kind of on her own, she would probably be better off talking to someone who had been in the same situation as her. But
yeah, good call on that. And yeah. I mean, the honeymoon phase, it just ends after 7 months.
The first year of marriage is also the hardest.
The first year is the hardest, Jem. It's what they said.
Lies, all lies.
Lies.
So then we go to the Hillside Villas in Audrina's apartment, and Heidi comes bursting in her door, having a huge, absolutely real argument with Jordan on the phone. He's apparently cussing at her like all good boyfriends do.
From North Carolina.
Did you notice Audrina started petting Heidi's hair?
Yes, that is what I do with my friends when they're upset. I think that somehow petting them will make them feel better. It doesn't usually work.
Jem, did you notice Audrina has professional headshots of herself on the wall?
I knew you would notice that as a professional photographer and wanted to get your opinion on that. I mean, and they were like super dramatic, like comp card modeling headshots too. I mean, it was serious, like black and white, staring off into the sunset.
Now, Jim, as you know, I am a photographer and I love photos, and I love when people have my photos on the wall. And as you know, you did a photo shoot with me, a month or two ago, and I tried to convince you to get this huge print to put on your wall, and you refused because you said it was too narcissistic.
No, I think my exact words were, it's too much like something Kim Zolciak would do, speaking of reality TV and Real Housewives, which we haven't since our last episode. I'm like, if it's something that Kim Zolciak would do, I don't think I would do it. So I got a second opinion from my roommate / husband, and he agreed with me, and we nixed it. And I'm so sorry that you're not able to order a giant canvas of me looking amazing for my bedroom wall.
It is a shame because those photos were good. You too could be like Audrina.
I know. So I love how Heidi, I mean, I feel sad that she's having the argument on her way in, but I love how she gives the whole, like, she holds up her hand, like, I'm on the phone having a fight with my boyfriend, Audrina. Thanks for letting me in, but I just don't have time to talk to you right now. I have to complete this fight so that you and I can discuss it after I get off my razor.
I feel like this scene was one of those scenes where you look at it and you're like, oh, this is so real. This seems like very realistic.
So real. This was a lot. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that a large portion of this episode felt extremely realistic.
If not, these kids are excellent actors and actresses.
They all get Oscars or Emmys.
Which I'm pretty sure they're not, because I know some of them have acted in different things, and I don't think it was very successful. So I'm going to say that this was more real than usual. So Jordan's mad because Heidi won't drop everything and come pick him up.
That's the whole fight. But they're one of these couples where it's just like they could be fighting about, like a candy bar or a street light or whatever, and they're still going to have like the same decibel level of argument. Heidi, though, has a meltdown and starts, Audrina's like, you deserve better. And Heidi talks about how she's being broken down little by little and how she deserves to be a princess. Oh, Jem and Susan for social justice. Hold, please.
Jem, my notes say, hold, please, Heidi.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
For real?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we're super related. Okay, so Jem and Susan for social justice would like to say, I deserve to be a princess, be treated like a princess, whatever. You know what, Heidi? How about Jordan treats you like a fellow human being that he cares about. He doesn't yell at you. He doesn't cuss you out. He doesn't start arguments. Obviously, he's not starting everything. Like, they're just like oil and water. Right. But ladies and gentlemen, all the many gentlemen that listen to our show, it's not about treating your lady like a princess and blah, 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 kibbity boo. You need to treat each other like human beings with respect. Also, Susan, is this the first time that we are inside Audrina's apartment?
No.
When were we there?
I don't know, but we talked about it before, I remember.
Well, there's a lot going on. She's much better.
Wait a minute. I have a question, Jem.
Yes, Susan.
What exactly is being treated like a princess? Because most real princesses are actually treated pretty badly. They're like forced into marriage. They have to give an heir and a spare. They're usually in a loveless marriage of convenience. So what exactly is being treated like a princess? A fairy tale princess?
I prefer to think of what happened with Mia Thermopylae in The Princess Diaries, which I think is the best depiction of life as a princess. And it's all about balance and having Julie Andrews in your life.
As you know, Jem, I'm a huge reader, and those books are really good.
What books?
The Princess Diaries books. Meg Cabot, I love all her books. She's amazing.
Maybe I did read them like ages ago when they initially came out. Because even that movie's been out for a hot freaking minute. I mean, what's her name? Was a teenager. Mm-hmm. What's her name?
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. Woo! Lol.
You know, another thing about this scene is all I could think of while I was watching Heidi was, oh my gosh, she looks so young in this episode.
She just ditched any hair and makeup in this entire episode. Like, she's like, kids, I'm going through a breakup. Ain't nobody got time for some like foundation and a blowout.
Good for
Which
her.
I fully support. Yeah, I totally support that. There's no need for you, Heidi, to look beautiful for the world when you're suffering inside or, quote unquote, being broken down little by little.
So then we go to Teen Vogue, and Whitney says she's very ladylike because she's wearing pearls.
Everyone's wearing all of the pearls in this episode. All of the pearls.
Yes. They just chat a little about Lauren's birthday, which was super boring, except that Whitney did say, I don't know how all these boys know what to do, and they're so young, and they both giggle.
Oh, please note, Lauren, as she's recapping, says, the night was perfect, and it was all I wanted. Oh, was it all you wanted to, like, awkwardly sort of fight with Jason over your room service and then lay on the hotel bed, like, staring in opposite directions, not speaking each other? Sounds like everything I'd ever want for my birthday.
Agreed. So then we go back to the Hillside Villas.
Jordan comes in, and they do that thing that couples do, using the pet for communication. Heidi says something like, oh, Bella, no, you're not talking to Jordan, just to let him know that she's pissed off. And I think that's hilarious. One of my good friends, shout out to Jen. She and I've had this conversation before, how we'll talk to our significant others through our pets using their voices when we want to get something across. And I noticed that Heidi did that in this scene. And then it just gets heated. Jordan, don't talk to me like this. You know what I did notice in this scene, Susan? Heidi is kind of good at expressing herself and her feelings and what she wants.
Yes.
I could not have done so at her age in that situation.
And Jordan says he's passionate and he's not going to change who he is.
Blah.
Okay.
He's not going to reconstruct his whole personality, aka grow up and be a good person.
Normally, that's a great way to be because you don't want to change for the person you're with and like meld to them, et cetera, et cetera. But when you're being mean, that is not the same thing.
She's just asking him for basic human decency, and he's like, I can't reconstruct my personality. And you know what? While we're mad at Jordan, he's wearing a Michael Jordan jersey in the scene.
Because he's Jordan.
Because he's Jordan. I'm going to go back in time and punch him in the face. We don't condone violence on Words Unspoken Hills podcast, Jem and Susan for Social Justice, 2016.
So Jordan says, you have this whole princess persona. I have to cater to you all the time. And Heidi's like, I am a girl. I should be a princess.
Again, Heidi, what does that mean? You just want a human being to be nice to you? Okay, well then say it in those words.
I don't understand where she even got this princess thing. She uses it all the time.
She probably read it in Teen Vogue.
And then she has some good things to say, like, how you treat me is a big deal. And then she says she treats him like a prince, which I wouldn't necessarily agree with, but whatever.
Susan, I was really scared because I thought, are Bella's parents getting a divorce?
Poor Bella. By the way, I looked up the Twilight information that we talked about before.
Oh, yeah.
Twilight, the movie, came out in 2008, and the books came out way before that. And since we know that Heidi probably does not read books, I'm going to say Bella was not named after the Twilight series.
Nope. No way Heidi made it through the first Twilight book. If she did, more power to her, because you know what my opinions are when it comes to those books. Sorry to all of our fans who are also Twilight fans.
Heidi dramatically gets up and walks into the bedroom and shuts the door, and he says, well, I'm going running, as if she hadn't already, like, dismissed him. And she said, see you tomorrow. And he says, like, I'm not coming back tonight.
And laughs derisively as if she can't bear to keep him away for one night. And she locks the door.
And he's texting while he's trying to say, yes, I am coming back, which was super rude. And then he tells her to shut up as he walks out the door.
Total jerk.
So rude. So then we go to the bakery where Jason and Lauren are lunching.
Lauren's wearing the Poochie headband. I was so happy.
Love, love, love that headband. And she's like, I will never again be a teenager. And Jason's like, that's so sad. And he's probably thinking, because I will be a teenager for another year.
Jason's hair in this scene is red zone, and his chin strap facial hair is out of control. Jason, I can't. I'm glad this was a long time ago, and you don't have to apologize for this in modern times. I don't think this was even okay back then. I just had to point that out, that it was very hard for me to focus on dialogue because that hair, though.
Jason loses his mind because Lauren says that her parents want to have dinner with them, and he's like, trying to hold it together, but you can tell he's like, no. And then Jason said he wants to get a house at the beach with Lauren, and she's very pleased, and then demands a kiss. As usual, always asking for kisses. She always has to ask for kisses.
Begging for love. Begging for love.
Whatever, Lauren. And then we head to the park where Jordan and Brian are chatting about the Heidi situation.
Ugh, these boy conversations are so painful, especially between our favorites, Brian and Jordan.
Jem, may I read you this direct quote from Brian?
Please do, Susan.
Well, first, Jordan is complaining about, she's getting mad at me for the way I talk. I'm not doing anything wrong, blah, 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 which is a total lie. But anyway, so Brian, in his infinite wisdom, says, yeah, whenever girls get mad at something, it's usually something else that they're really mad at. They just don't want to tell you because you should know. Brian.
If we had a loser of the episode segment, which we don't yet, but may have to move towards when certain people enter the picture in later seasons, this would probably be that moment.
Jem, here at Words Unspoken the Hills podcast, we try to be as positive as we possibly can and not be negative all the time.
We don't succeed very well.
And we don't succeed, especially when it comes to Brian.
No, we don't. It's so unfair to him. Poor guy.
However, we now know why Brian is single.
I'm sorry, I was distracted by Jordan wearing Michael Jordan shorts. What did they say? They're making some kind of plan about like making up with Heidi or doing something. And the minute that Brian suggested flowers, like, oh, dress up and get flowers, I literally burst out laughing. Let me spell the laugh that I laughed. BAHAHAHAHA. That's what my laugh sounded like.
Ha 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 ha.
It was a bah ha ha, full on, scared my pets. Because I'm just like, this flower situation has just got to go. Oh, also another observation about this scene. They must be playing basketball after 6 p.m. because that's when Brian wakes up.
It was funny, though, because when Brian suggested, oh, get dressed in a fancy suit, get her flowers, wait outside her work, which I thought was a good plan.
Yeah, that's all right.
Jordan,
too little, too late.
Jordan says, I don't know if I want to do that.
Oh, lazy bum.
AKA, he has already given up.
He's checked out. Jordan, if you can't even get flowers, which is what every person on the show ever does at any point in time, day or night, New Year's Eve, Christmas, whatever other holidays we've experienced, you can't even buy flowers for like one day, you're definitely done with this relationship and you know you're about to get dumped.
So we head to Cafe Sushi, and Heidi and Lauren are chatting about the situation.
Heidi hasn't been able to eat all day because she's too upset. That was really sad.
And Heidi also says, boy problems are the worst problems.
But you know what? No spoiler alerts or anything, but fast forwarding to Heidi's current situation in life, boy problems are still her problems. I mean, things haven't changed too much for her, but I don't know. I mean, I think
Dear Heidi, homelessness, abject poverty,
world hunger, disease,
anyway,
chronic terminal illness. When
you're 20 years old or 19 years old, however old she is, I guess boy problems seem very huge.
Boy problems can be huge, though. Let's give every lady or gentleman who's having boy problems right now a little break. This can be really hard and kind of color everything else that you're doing. And then here comes Lauren with the sage advice. Love is not a maybe thing. Lauren, you are wise.
I love how Lauren says, Heidi, you know Jason and I will be there for you no matter what. Like, all of a sudden they're this team that will be there for Heidi. It was just kind of condescending the way she said it.
Jason and I have been married for 20 years. You and Jordan have been married for 20 years, and we're next door neighbors. If y'all do go through a divorce, we and the kids and the dogs next door will be here for you, whatever you need. That was the tone that she used.
It was so, kind of smug. But anyway.
Super smug. Maybe more comforting herself that her relationship is doing better than it is. Kind of like what the boys do a little later in the episode.
Yeah. And Heidi says she's not absolutely in love with Jordan, and that says it all.
That's the nail in the coffin, Susan. I didn't see it coming, and it happened. And I began to get emotional.
I see the tears welling up in your eyes right now because I know how much you love Jordan.
And you know how much I cry.
Yes, absolutely, all the time.
So a combination of those two things are not surprising to you right now.
So then we head back to the Hillside Villas, and it is pouring down rain.
This vibe is freaking sad.
Which, as we know, that rarely happens in LA. So it's very, shocking that it's even raining. Perfect timing.
Yeah, it's a breakup's a coming.
It's a great scene, but it's very sad. But it is very like real and very emotional. So Heidi's on the phone with her mom saying, I packed up Jordan's stuff. He's coming over. Jordan shows up looking like a hot mess. His orange hair gleaming.
Jordan's hair is extra big, Susan, denoting the seriousness of the occasion. But you know, the higher the hair, the closer to God.
Yes. Bella's so excited to see her daddy. She has no idea the heartbreak that's about to occur and that she will probably never see Jordan again.
Dad's about to get booted.
But for real, they're like both crying. Heidi's
So
like,
sad.
I can't do this anymore. Jordan says, I can't either. At least he does admit to screwing up. Heidi says, I think we bring out the worst in each other, which is 100% true. I think that's very perceptive of Heidi to see that they do bring out the worst in each other.
Usually that's something you don't realize until a long time after you break up with somebody and you're looking back. So again, I've just been really surprised this whole episode how good Heidi is at expressing things.
I think it also has a lot to do with she's just done. I think she's already in her mind done with him and she's ready to move on.
I mean, packing up the stuff is pretty final and she did it very quickly. That was legit sad. There was sad crying. Like he put on the hoodie. She was sniffling into her sleeve. My chest might have hurt like a tiny little bit with like those little tug of like sadness.
I didn't just feel bad for Heidi. I actually felt really bad for Jordan because he was very upset.
He was like, I can't live without you. And I was like, oh.
And she whispers, I am done. And takes his key off of his keychain, the key to her apartment. I'm like, whoa, that's final.
Just as joyful as the first time receiving that key is, it is that much more heartbreaking when the key is returned. It's a big moment.
And Jordan stands up and walks out of the apartment, and Heidi opens the door and leans out and says, goodbye, Jordan.
She can barely get the words out. It's so difficult. And then she and Lauren snuggle on the couch, and it's really sweet. And Lauren does all the right things you're supposed to do. Doesn't try to like give a speech about everything's going to be great. She just says she's sorry. And it's just a really sweet little scene. And that whole scene was super nostalgic for me because sometimes I forget what it's like to be in college where you have, you know, a shared common space and then you each have your own room and you like go to your room for different things. And now she has like, oh, I have a headache. I got to go to my room. And I just had like a little nostalgic feeling about just the whole vibe of like being in college and like having an apartment and having a roommate. And it was just, man, that's just how it goes when you're that age. And now I'm super old, as I mention at least once per episode.
So then we go to my favorite scene of the whole episode. Brian and Jordan's apartment, and the three guys are sitting around discussing it. This is amazing.
This is amazing.
I love this. Jordan's like, oh my God, she packed up all my stuff. It's done. I like that Jordan knows that her packing up the stuff means it's done. So here's the undercurrent running through the room as Jordan's telling his dramatic story. Jason, OMG, this is my future.
Yep.
Brian, OMG, does this mean we won't be on the show anymore?
Brian is going to have to take his tallness and his talents elsewhere. Jason 100% looks like a deer in headlights, realizing this is exactly what's going to happen with Lauren and him. You are spot on with your observations, Susan, as always. I love when Brian's like, I'm just literally in shock.
Question.
Answer.
When people say, I thought you were Ken and Barbie. Brian, you thought they were plastic dolls? Sorry, I couldn't resist.
And all the things they say about people look at us and they're just like, you're so in love. And when people see us, you're just so perfect.
No.
Huh? What does that mean? What does that mean?
And no one has ever thought Jordan and Heidi were so in love and so perfect. They're fighting all the time. Hello, did you not watch the previously on Brian?
I bet if you asked all of my friends, Lisa Love, Brent Bolthouse, and Blaine, what they thought about Heidi and Jordan as a couple, they could tell you some things. And also there's a lot of hair product in this room.
Definitely. Jason's like, Lauren and I, we would always come to you for advice. I just don't understand how this can be. I thought we would be way done before you.
I mean, it's just a race to the finish. Who's going to break up first? Jason's like, if these two can't make it, who can? He doesn't say that. I just made that up.
I know. It was just a hilarious scene. I will say one thing I did enjoy about it was the fact that Jordan was like getting teary and choking up. And I loved that he wasn't embarrassed to do that in front of his two guy friends. So Jordan, I give you all the props in the world for that. You're not afraid of some tears, unlike most men. So good job.
These guys are pretty in touch with their emotions compared to probably your average like LA boy in those days.
Well, Jordan's a good Southern boy, so.
Oh, he's right. He's from North Carolina, just like everyone else.
So then we head to Teen Vogue, and Lauren and Whitney are discussing the breakup. And Whitney is so sweet. She's like, oh, I've got to call and check on Heidi, which was really nice of her. And Lauren says, it's really depressing to be in our apartment.
4 words for this scene before we move on. Lauren's striped dress, though.
Really, really cute. I love it.
Would wear it tomorrow.
Oh, I would
wear
totally wear it now.
Yeah, well done.
This is the part where Whitney hears the news that Lauren is moving into a beach house with Jason this summer, but only for the summer. And Whitney's like, oh, I really need a job. But Lauren's afraid that the breakup might change their plans. And I was thinking, why should Heidi breaking up with her boyfriend change your plans? Not that I approve of her moving in with Jason, because that's a horrible idea.
Yeah, but you know how it is when you're that age, you have a roommate, you kind of like have to make things work with each other. I mean, these young ladies aren't under any financial constraints from what I understand, so that might be a little bit different. But I just remember always having to, like figure things out with roommates, or in some cases, running, screaming away from my roommates, hoping to never see them again.
Several cases, actually. So then we head to Coyote Studios, and Heidi is telling Audrina about the breakup. Audrina is thrilled because she wants her friend back and she's super excited. They're going to go out all the time and have fun. Audrina is not crying any tears over Jordan leaving.
She is so happy that Fun Times Heidi is coming back into her life. She's not going to be the single one anymore, and they're going to go out every night now.
And Heidi says, it's the first night of my new life. Cut to credits.
She got over that really quickly.
Jem?
Yes, Susan?
We need to have a moment of silence. Because this is the last time we will see Brian and Jordan.
No! Are you serious? We will never see Brian and Jordan again. I take back every mean thing I ever said about them. Jordan, I'm sorry that I said that you glowered at the dumpster. Jordan, I'm sorry I said that you were the Mad Hatter. I'm sorry for all the terrible things I ever said. I didn't realize that our relationship would end this soon. And I'm not getting a lot of closure. Heidi had the closure when she said goodbye, Jordan. And she's going out now. What am I going to do? I'm going to be upset the rest of the night because you just broke devastating news to me. Now what do I have to look forward to next week, Susan? Now what do I have to look forward to?
Oh, there are things, Jem. There are things. So, Jem, this is the penultimate episode of season 1. We only have one more episode left until the end of the season. What are your thoughts at this point?
My thoughts at this point are, thank God I don't have to watch another episode on MTV.com after next week. I can finally start season 2 on Hulu and live my life like a normal person. But no, seriously, my thoughts are that I got more emotionally involved in this episode than I have in any other episode outside of the spoilery That Was Then, This Is Now, which some of you may or may not have listened to, depending on how spoiled you want to be. But this is the one that got me really involved. But my thoughts overall are that, Lauren and Heidi's friendship is peaking, probably. I know that there are certain people that are coming around the mountain to stir things up. And also some cute boys are on the way.
Yay.
Upgrades from our friends that we just said a fond farewell to. Talk to me about what you're thinking right now.
I am excited for the season finale. A lot happens in it, and I'm excited to talk about it. And we'll talk more about our hopes and dreams for season 2 next week.
I can't wait. I already have a lot of hopes and dreams building up, so I'll keep a list.
Does this episode of The Hills pass the Bechdel test?
Susan, I can't. Bechdel, nope, meh. Nah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of The Hills does not pass the Bechdel test. However, I'm okay with it.
Right, because it was about the breakup and it was about the whatever. Yeah, it's okay.
It's fine. We will forgive you this time, The Hills. Do not let it happen again.
We will allow it just this once.
Jem and Susan's funniest moments.
Easily the funniest and only funny moment in this sad emotion episode was when the boys were having their dramatic powwow, kind of that postmortem of the relationship. Susan, I was wrong. Those boys do know how to decorate that bachelor pad because the whole front of the bar was covered with graffiti, most noticeably of which read, Heidi was here. In giant blocks. It kind of looked like they wrote on it with like a Sharpie. I don't think it was like a whiteboard situation. It was the first decoration I've seen there. So I'm sorry, boys, for judging your place last week. You do decorate it in the manner of a 5-year-old who's been left alone with his Crayola.
Jem, my funniest moment does not exist because I'm too hungry to think of it.
Are you having a hunger fit?
I am having a hunger fit.
Well, let's get to our winner of the week. Winners of the week.
Jem, my winner of the week is Heidi. She got rid of Jordan, who was a little bit of a deadweight and kind of mean to her.
Yes, and his hair got way too big.
Yes, her heart was broken. Yes, she cried, but she handled it very, very well. It was actually mature, minus all the princess talk. And I think she's a winner of the week because now her horizons are open. She can have fun being single or perhaps find a wonderful young man to date.
A fine young man, a brunette.
Her options are just wide open right now.
The world is her oyster. It's all good from here. Things are about to get great for Heidi.
She is the winner of the week for this episode, Jem.
So my winner of the week was, by the same token, Audrina, because as she said, she got her buddy back. And now they're going to go out every night and everything's going to be great. And as you know, I have a special love for Audrina in my heart. And I'm really excited for her that she's happy in the scene, even though she's not super torn up about the fact that her friend is having a tragic breakup. Audrina deserves a little excitement and happiness in her life. So I'm very happy to announce her as the winner.
Emails, tweets, and Instagrams. Oh my! We had some great comments on our social media this week. We really enjoyed live chatting with a lot of people during the That Was Then, This Was Now marathon. Naomi sent us this picture on Instagram where Lauren is holding that ice cream cup that we both love so much. And she said, OMG, I absolutely love this cup that Lauren Conrad is holding on the hills. I want Words Unspoken podcast to keep a lookout for it and to tell me if they think it's a real cup or fake. I responded that we love that cup. We see it a couple of times in season 1, so I declare it to be a real cup and I want one. Jem, I need your input now. Do you think the ice cream cup is real?
I think the ice cream cup is real and I want one for myself. I actually want a matching pair and I am with you, Naomi. It's awesome.
And Naomi also sent us some awesome Brent Bolthouse photos because she knows how much we love Brent Bolthouse.
Brent Bolthouse.
Oh my God, I'm so
bored. Oh, hey, we have a big shout out this week. NB is getting married the day that this episode comes out. So happy wedding day. I'm sure you will not be listening to us on your fabulous wedding day, NB, but we love you and happy nuptials to you and your wonderful fiance.
Yes, congratulations. I hope it's an awesome day. We want to send a special shout out to Kavita and it's Adriana Lara, our 2 new listeners that are super excited and just subscribe to the podcast. We're excited to have you with us and we hope you really enjoy these episodes. We can't wait to hear your thoughts on it.
We also loved all of the tweets on Sunday night when the That Was Then, This Is Now episode aired in the UK. Shu Galu said, it made me realize just how good The Hills was and how much I love watching it.
So we just really appreciated everyone who talked to us and everyone who's listening. Thank you so much. We really, really loved talking to y'all. There was so much Hills love. It was just the most warm and fuzzy feeling. Thanks for listening to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast. Here's the scoop on all of the many ways you can contact us. We'd love to hear your feedback and ideas for the show.
You can email us at wordsunspokenpodcast@gmail.com.
You can find us on Twitter at The Hills Podcast and Instagram and Facebook at Words Unspoken Podcast.
We are even on Tumblr, which definitely did not exist when The Hills first aired. And you can also visit our website, wordsunspokenpodcast.com.
Please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. We are also available on Stitcher, Google Play, and SoundCloud.
We'll talk to you next Friday.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
You and all your pretty little friends up in the hills where the party never ends. Your schemes and your dreams when you're whole and you're broken. I'm telling all about it in my
Hold on.
Hold on. Okay.